5 editing mistakes I see a lot of beginners make and how to fix them. Avoiding these simple mistakes could be ruining your edits. The first thing I see a lot is motion tile artifacts. So what do I mean when I say motion tile artifacts? Motion tile artifacts are pretty much these black lines here that show up when your layers are incorrectly placed, or if you don't have motion tile on the original clip or the adjustment layer you're working on. So here we have a simple shake with transform. If I take off this transform layer, you will see that the shake will work without any of the edges having weird black lines. But as soon as I put the transform on, you can see that the black lines appear. So if these black lines are a result of an adjustment layer, you gotta put motion tile on the adjustment layer and you're gonna drag it to the top and extend the output to width and height. Also click on mirror edges and now you can see that these mistakes are gone. If these lines appear and it's not because of the adjustment layer, you gotta set your motion tile on the actual clip itself, keep on the mirror edges, and then increase the output height and width. If you still see these black lines appearing and you have motion tile on both the adjustment layer and the clip itself, what that usually indicates is that your original clip already has some issues. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pre-comp your original clip and you're gonna scale it up just a little bit. Now, when you go back, you will see that the motion tile artifacts are gone again. Another thing I see a lot is being offbeat in your edits. So for that, what you wanna do is either click L on your keyboard twice to open up the waveform and see on the waveform where on the audio the beats hit. Or alternatively, I find this method a little bit easier. You're gonna select your audio track, you're gonna go up here where it says animation, click on keyframe assistant, and then convert audio to keyframes. Now, when you open this layer up, you will see that there's this thing called both channels with all these keyframes. Click on the graph editor, and now you can see exactly where your beat hits. As you can see, I'm off by around 2 frames. So I can come here now and I can bring these back here and now it will match with the song. This next issue I see in some edits and it always breaks the flow of the edit when I see them. So you want to avoid this at all costs. It's a very easy mistake to make. Over here I have a simple zoom out. But watch what happens now if I bring these 2 keyframes closer by 2 frames. And this leaves this 1 frame without any keyframe movement. You see how the camera kind of stops 1 frame before it should, and then continues on with the motion. So you never really want that. So make sure that your keyframes are always correctly set. Usually you can set them about 1 frame before the transition, like I have right here. So it reaches its max keyframe velocity over here. Or to be safe, you can also just bring it right below where the second layer starts. Having improper composition settings makes your edits look worse. What do I mean by that? I'm gonna go here and change the resolution to 1080 by 1080. Now I'm gonna go into the comp itself and change this also to 1080. Now you can see it cuts off everything from the sides, leaving only the aspect ratio you set in the composition settings. Now, the problem this creates is now if we go back and try to manually change the position with keyframes, you see that it starts repeating the edges right as the clip ends, which, as we saw before, not the original dimensions of the clip we're working with. So what you want to do is you can set your main sort of aspect ratio to whatever you want, but always make sure to go into your pre-comps and change these back to the original intended aspect ratios. This way, when you go back here and want to change your position, for example, you see you have a lot more data to work with before the actual edge repeat kicks in. This will make your slides, zoom outs, everything like that just way smoother, way more appealing to the eye. If it starts repeating right away, it just looks off. You gotta make sure that your compositions are set right. The last mistake I see a lot is quality. You gotta remember, most of the quality comes from the source file. If your source already doesn't look good, then almost nothing is gonna save it, even Topaz. You can use Topaz all you want, but it will just look artificial and off. So ensure you have the best quality source. Secondly, make sure you have a CC that actually fits your scene. A lot of times I see CCs like this, for example, which is just way too bright for the scene or something that's way too dark. You want to make sure that your scene is still visible, but not overly bright and not overly dark. So find a good balance in your CC if you're using a preset. Tweak the settings a little bit, see what works with your specific clip. Remember, these presets probably weren't made using the same clips that you're using in your edits, so you gotta tweak them a little bit to get them working with your own clips. Doing something as simple as just turning the brightness down on this glow plugin already makes it way better. And now you can actually see the detail in the image. So I hope that this video at least helped out someone who was dealing with some of these mistakes and didn't know maybe how to fix them or why they even happened. A lot of us have made these mistakes before and maybe still make them. You gotta make sure that you at least know what these mistakes are so you can avoid them in the future and make your edits look way better.